This exercise is designed to pull together all the strands of knowledge from the guitar music theory courses parts 1 and 2. Now, I'd advise not even trying to do this exercise unless you've already got a good grasp of key signatures, triad formulas and harmonising the major scale. It'll also be really useful if you've put a bit of time in on the cage system drills and the sandwich exercise drills as well. This exercise isn't particularly difficult to learn physically, but I want to emphasise that it's important to understand the exercise as well as to execute it. The exercise itself involves 64 chord changes, but you'll be relieved to know that we can comfortably cover those changes with just 16 different shapes, most of which I think you'll find you're already reasonably familiar with. First, the open chord shapes. The basic caged chords, C, A, G, E and D. But notice a couple of things about these particular shapes. Each chord is restricted to just 4 strings, and I've labelled each note according to the spelling of the chord. We use the word spelling to mean describing a chord by its formula. So, as these are all major chords, the spelling is 1, 3, 5. So, for example, on the C chord, we've got the note C here on the 3rd fret on the A string. We've got the note E, 2nd fret on the D string, so that's our 3rd note in the C major scale, 1, 3, and then we've got the open G giving us our 5th note in the C major scale, so that's 1, 3, 5, 8. Because typically we repeat the root note at the top of the octave, so that's C there, octave above that C there. So I prefer, instead of using 1, 3, 5, 8, to use the designation root, 3rd, 5th, root. So R, 3, 5, R in other words. Notice that the pattern made by the root notes, the R notes, is straight out of the cage system of octave patterns. We're also going to be using 3 minor triad open chord shapes and 2 diminished ones. These 2 are all labelled with their spellings. 1 flat 3, 5 for the minor chords, and 1 flat 3, flat 5 for the diminished ones. I should stress that there are many possible ways of fingering each of these chords on the guitar, but for the sake of simplicity, I recommend sticking to these open shapes as far as possible for this exercise. Then use one of the following movable shapes for the chords that you can't cover with the open ones. That'll make more sense a bit later. But here are the movable shapes. The first row of shapes are all rooted on the E string, so they will take their name from whatever note you get on that string at the fret you choose to play the shape. For example, the first shape will give you G sharp major if you play it at the 4th fret. So here we have the note G sharp on the E string, and I make the major pattern. You'll recognise that as an E shape chord, and I'm plucking just the bottom 4 strings. So that's our G sharp major. The minor shape could be used, for example, for F sharp minor if I play it here at the 2nd fret. 2 ways of doing this. I'm just barring that, that's how I'd normally do it, but you can actually play it like that if you prefer. I personally find that just too far to stretch that finger, but if you've bigger hands you may find that approach easier. I'm going to bar it for now, but I'm just again plucking the bottom 4 strings. So that's how I'd use that shape to get F sharp minor. And then G diminished, I could use at the 3rd fret here, I've got the note G on the E string, 2nd finger there on the 3rd string, on the G string at the 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the A string at the 4th fret, pinky on the D string at the 5th fret. Again, just plucking the bottom 4 strings. You've got that lovely dirty sound that the diminished chord makes. So all of those are movable chords. Similarly, the movable shapes rooted on the A string. The major shape could be used for D sharp at the 6th fret. So notice this time I'm finding the note D sharp on the 5th string, the A string. So we'd have D there at the 5th fret, D sharp there. And then I would make the major shape. I like to make it just 1 finger, like that. Some people like to use those 3. Again, I can't stretch to that, but it's up to you. No right or wrong there, it just depends on the shape and size of your fingers. So again, I'm just plucking the 4 strings that are affected. So my thumb is on the A string and my fingers are on the next 3 strings along. So that's my D sharp major. Equally, I could use the minor shape at the 4th fret to play C sharp minor. So there's my C sharp and there's my minor shape. You recognise it as an A minor shape. Pluck the middle 4 strings. And I could use a diminished shape here at fret 2 to play B diminished. That note's a B. Diminished shape looks like that. 2nd finger on the D string at the next fret up, and 3rd finger on the B string, that same fret, and the pinky in the next fret on the G string. Now, if you're following this session on the Secret Guitar Teacher website, you'll be able to download a printout of all these chord shapes just by clicking on the Printouts tab on the toolbox to the right of the screen. If not, you can always back the video up a few frames and just go back over my demonstration of those chords to learn the shapes that you're not familiar with. Do take a bit of time for that, and if, in particular, make a point of really understanding the spellings of each chord, because that's the way you're going to get the most benefit from this session. Remember that the spellings of a chord are simply the steps on the major scale of the root note of that particular chord. And you can always check a chord shape by referring back to its major scale, like this. So for example, supposing you've played G diminished here at the rooted at the 3rd fret, and you're listening to that and you're going, God, that sounds a bit weird. Let's just check that I've got that right. Well, where are we? We've got the note G there. We're on the E string, so we're in the E part of the cage system. In that 1st octave shape, referring back to our sandwich exercise, we can play our major scale. That gives us the numbering of the notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We refer to our knowledge of triad formulas. We're looking for a diminished triad, so that's 1 flat 3 flat 5. There's our 1. There would be our 3rd. There would be our 5th. So there's our flat 5th. And there's our root. And then in the next octave, 1, 2, 3, there's our flat 3rd there. So there's a root, a flat 3rd, another root, and a flat 5th. So sure enough, that shape is right. So there, I hope you can begin to see the payoff from all that time you've invested in the guitar fretboard orientation lessons. Okay, so let's crack on with the first part of this drill, which is where we're going to play each of the chords in the diatonic series through each key round the circle of fifths, starting with the key of C major. On this first run through, I'm going to do it nice and slowly with a full running commentary to explain what we're doing. So we get ready with a C. So the key of C has no sharps and no flats. Let's go. We've got C major, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. Up one step on the circle of fifths takes us to G, C, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, G. So we're in the key of G now, and we remind ourselves G has got one sharp, F sharp. So we've got G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D, E minor, F diminished, G major. Up another step on the circle of fifths, we come to D major. Key of D major has got two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. So first chord is D, E minor, F sharp major, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, back to D major. Up a fifth from there we come to the key of A major. We've got now three sharps. F for father, C for Charles, G for goes. So A, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, A major. Up five, we come to the key of E major with four sharps. Father, Charles goes down, F, C, G and D. Okay, E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished, E major. Up five steps we come to the key of B major with five sharps. Father, Charles goes down and. So F, C, G, D and A. So we've got B, C sharp minor, D sharp minor, E major, F sharp major, G sharp minor, A sharp diminished, B major. Then up five steps we come to F sharp. So we start, F sharp's got six sharps, Father Charles goes down and enters. So F sharp major, G sharp minor, A sharp minor, B major, C sharp major, D sharp minor, E sharp diminished, and F sharp major. And finally, up 5 from there, we come to C sharp. C sharp has got 7 sharps, so literally everything is sharp. C sharp major, D sharp minor, E sharp minor, F sharp major, G sharp major, A sharp minor, B sharp diminished, and back to C sharp major. And that's the full circle. Well done if you managed to just play along with that first time. Now your first job is to play along with me on that exercise we've just done at that speed. And I do realise that for most students that's going to take a lot of runs through. I realised that, to be honest, because I had to practice this one myself for several weeks before even daring to make this video. So no shame in having to put in some time on this, and I promise you it is worth the effort. Now, if after several attempts you are already struggling with this at this speed, the trick is just to go back to the earlier stage and familiarise yourself with the individual shapes a bit better. In particular, the diminished shapes are the ones that are physically hardest to do, and for most people I think just completely new things for their fingers. So work a bit at those. If you find the running commentary is actually more confusing than helpful, then this may be a good time to go back and revise the theory course a bit. It is important to understand what we're doing as well as to physically be able to do it. Okay, so once you've been through this exercise at this speed, and are happy that you can reasonably easily keep up with me on that, then move on to the next part, the final part of this session, where we're going to play it in strict time to the metronome, but with less commentary. So I'm going to set the metronome to 72 beats per minute, and then we're going to play one chord change for every 2 clicks of the metronome. So we're actually playing at 36 beats per minute. Something like this, 2. So if we count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. That's the speed we're going to do it at. Key of C, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and key of G, Okay, so once again, I do expect this to take many times through to bring it up to speed. This isn't an easy exercise. So if you find yourself struggling with this one, do give yourself a break, literally. Now, once you're sort of up to the speed with this video, do carry on with the exercise in your own time, playing it at whatever pace you're comfortable with. You can do this several times faster than we were doing it on this video, and that's no bad thing to be able to do that. But do make sure that you engage your brain as well as your fingers. A great way of doing that is to provide your own running commentary as you play it. Tell yourself the name of each chord as you play it. Remind yourself of the key signature of each key as the key changes. This is a super efficient way of programming your musician's mind and making sure you get the most from this gym session. Okay, now once you're on top of this exercise, do move right on to the next gym session where we're going to do a similar thing with the circle of fourths. As we'll be using exactly the same shapes, you've already done a lot of the groundwork for that, so you will, promise you, find that exercise quite a bit easier than this one to learn. Alright, I'll look forward to seeing you in that session. Well done for sticking with it.